All right. Welcome to Crossing the Streams. We are live. Episode 76. Can you believe that, boys? 76. And that's what taking 3 weeks off.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? Crazy. Well, we got a full show for you today. And we got a guest. Fredd Carroll returns to the show.
Hey, Freddie.
Good to see ya.
Hello.
By the way, I know I've missed a bunch lately, and I did read there were some threads on Reddit that were saying that it's all contract negotiation. That is not true. It is not true.
It is not true. That is not true at all.
For more money. I would be asking for any money, but
we are number one in Yemen. That's
excellent.
But I did find out my podcast was number one in Yemen. And I thought that was pretty funny.
They make good.
We always thought Yemen was funny because from Friends when he's trying to get away from Janice, where I'm moving to Yemen. So all right, we got to do the theme song. We got to do a theme song. So let's let Fredd kick it off, and then Bob Phillips will take.
All right.
Go ahead.
Here's
Bob.
the story. Oh, me first or what?
You're first. Sorry.
Here's the story of some lonely fellows who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me.
Bob.
They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff, Runsell, and Bob, and there's Howard. They called it Crossing Streams.
Howard.
And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we crossed the stream.
Everyone.
We crossed the streams. We crossed the streams. That's the way to do it. We crossed the streams.
I think Fred's been taking voice lessons. That was excellent.
Jerry Chacon with a shout out to the Yemenis. Is that was that what you call them? Yemenis?
I think they're Yemenites.
The Yemenites? Oh, yeah. Just the Yemen.
Yemenis.
They're not Yemeners.
Christ, we're gonna get a letter.
We're gonna get a letter from Yemen. Speaking of getting letters, Jerry and Carmen, the drinking rules. Just a reminder for everyone.
San Diego.
If Sal, Bob, anyone drinks, you drink at home. We have a technical issue. Drink. If someone has to be asked what platform the show is on, drink. If I put your name on the screen, drink. If we forget an actor's name, drink. I have to apologize. I'm a little slow. I got just getting over the COVID. Was in Disney World, but I know. Hey, tomorrow is my wedding anniversary.
All right.
And so one of the reasons
I liked your picture. You're the then and now in Disney World with Pluto.
Yeah, but he was missing the fanny pack from when he started.
Actually, I was wearing the fanny pack. I just flipped it around my back. So it wasn't. If I had realized it was in the picture,
like an NFL lineman,
I would have done it. But I went to Podfest. I spoke at a Podfest conference. But the other thing that we did is we went to Epcot Center, my wife and I. And so Robin dug up, went through our honeymoon album. We went to Disney World for our honeymoon, and she found some photos. And one of the photos was us. I froze. Did I freeze?
Yeah,
you're frozen.
All guys.
And in a very attractive pose, I might add.
Yeah.
That picture.
Contemplative.
What show was it? Was it Soap that at the end they would freeze frame like that?
Yes.
So anyway, can you hear me? Can you hear me though?
You can hear you.
Yeah. So
you're back.
I'm back.
Good headshot for you. That was a good headshot.
That was that's a meme now. So anyway, so my wife dug up a photo of us and Pluto, and then she found the actual clothes. We still have the same clothes 26 years later.
Wow.
How does that happen?
So check this out. So
no.
On the left is if you notice Pluto is a little different with the tongue, but same Seinfeld shirt. And Robin's wearing the same. She had just put them up on top of the shelf And then
Wow.
and we
Wow.
had them. So we brought them.
Wow.
We get to Epcot, and there's just 2 characters there, Goofy and Pluto. So it was Bashir. And so that worked out. And then we waited in line and we showed them. They got a kick out of that, I think. And then, so that was cool.
That's
So,
cool.
so which
Well,
one is the
congratulations.
dog, Jeff? Just to settle this
Pluto.
once and for all.
Goofy and Pluto are dogs.
They're both dogs.
I
Yeah.
thought that.
No, one's a
Okay.
cow. Isn't
Yeah,
one a cow?
I thought Goofy was like a cow or no.
Hey, let's not
Really?
talk
I
about,
thought good.
not talk about gender identity on the show, you guys.
That's right.
Not
We,
going down that road.
pre-gamed. We're not doing
Wait
that.
here. What kind? No, Goofy is a dog. He was.
Goofy's a dog.
He
Goofy
might
is
not be a dog. You never know what he is inside. Come on.
I just.
As far as I'm concerned, he can be whatever he wants to be.
Yes.
Jerry says I look older in the old photo. Thank you. That was the kindest comments people said. It was like you barely aged. So, but
Nice. Well,
so that
happy
was cool.
anniversary, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Howard and I are both recovering from the COVID, but
The
I
Rona.
caught mine. I had a whirlwind week. I spent my first few days of the trip in Key West, which I'd never been to, and is an enjoyable time. And then I'll have to tell you guys about it offline because I'm contractually NDA obligated to not tell you about it online. I spent a day at Michael Jordan's personal and private
Yeah.
country club, which
Yeah.
was ridiculous. And then from there went to Fort Worth, Texas, and for the NASCAR All-Star race and the Pro Bull Riding World Finals, which
Nice.
I work in the world of NASCAR and I love NASCAR. And I have been a number of times to Pro Bull Riding events, which we've sponsored. I have to say, especially if you have a family, Bob, if you want to take your grandkids to something cool, if you ever get a chance, Pro Bull Riding events is some of the best family entertainment for the money that I have seen anywhere.
Is it like a rodeo style kind of thing?
Well, it's so PBR bull riding is big deal. I mean, they have TV on CBS. I mean, it's pretty big. And the events are sold out everywhere they go. A lot of smaller towns, especially in the upper Midwest. But it is, so it's riding a bull, just riding bulls, trying to stay on for 8 seconds. But the in-between time of when a cowboy gets on, just trying to get on the bull and get himself situated before they open the gate, if they just had that downtime, it'd be like constant timeouts at a basketball game. But during that downtime, they have a couple of MCs and a guy who's the entertainer who runs around the arena and tells jokes and dances, and they play great music. And so it's so entertaining between the rides because it could go 5 minutes with the guy trying to get ready to ride the bull, and then he falls off in 3 of the 8 seconds, doesn't get a qualified ride, and then you're back to waiting for the next guy to load up. And but the in-between is the best part almost because they do such a great job entertaining people. It's really, really fun. So,
Any calf roping?
no calf roping. This is
No calf roping.
Jerry,
calf-
what a champ.
Jerry's good for 8 seconds. So.
Now, we
calf-
heard that about you.
No calf roping, no barrel jumping, no bronc busting. It is strictly bulls. And
Okay.
the way I had it described to me once is imagine 160-pound cowboy from Brazil trying to ride an NFL offensive line for 8 seconds because they're over 2,000-pound bulls.
Is it better than watching cars go around in a circle?
Anything's better than that.
Oh, so
Yeah.
boring.
I
That
tend
is
to
terrible.
disagree.
Don't be making fun of the man's livelihood.
Yeah,
I got stuck
Hey,
out at MIS. Ugh.
I worked
I
worked
might
6
support
years.
that, though.
I worked 6 years for Jeff Gordon and
Oh, my Lord.
and down in Charlotte, and it was not fun. There was
Yeah.
no joy in it. No joy.
Oh, but it is fun and it is full of joy. Today's episode. Oh my God, we got so much for you.
Nice.
So, but welcome
Nice.
everybody to Crossing the Streams,
Yeah, it's good to be here.
where we
Oh,
do
hey,
answer
by the way,
uni-
It's not a rant. It's a question.
Yes.
I have an idea for a new Rosner segment that I want to debut soon, which I want to do quick review of what I think are perfectly executed all the way around, written, directed, photography, acted, individual scenes for movies and TV shows. Like I know what my first one is. I need a catchy title for it though. So for our fans out there, I challenge you to send us a note for your title. If you do that, I will send you something autographed from my home, perhaps a napkin.
NASCAR. You get NASCAR tickets.
Yes.
Something autographed from your home. That sounds like a threat.
Aha. All right. Well, we got. Well, I don't know if I can top that, but we got a great show for you today. But last week, for those, we talked about Taskmaster, Cold Feet. I reviewed Swamp Thing, guys. You guys missed that. And Tony was here raving about
Adrian
Top Gun.
Barbeau.
Oh yeah, and Tony was returned, I think, for a record 8th visit to do Top Gun Maverick.
No, there wasn't another Batman movie out apparently.
Did you see Top Gun Maverick?
I haven't. I'm going to see it.
Right.
I did.
I need to see it this weekend. I need to
No
see it.
spoilers. Yeah, this weekend I think it's
That's the
happening.
plan.
I left the theater. I never
What?
do that. I left.
It's that bad?
No, it's not
it
bad.
wasn't
It's
that
amazing.
bad. I mean, it's clearly an awesomely made movie, and everybody's enjoying it. I just couldn't stand the fucking bro culture. I'm so done with this shit. I'm so done with watching Tom Cruise try to look normal. I'm so done with the fucking cult and the weird shit. And it's like, every angle is, his every bead of sweat on his bicep is highlighted. It's like, the dude is a little weirdo. Okay. That's just the bottom line. And all this shit that he does, learning how to fly planes, jumping out of planes. It's like, look, I'm not really weird. Yes, you are. You're a weird dude. And I just couldn't watch it anymore. I 25 minutes in, I'm like, you know what? I don't give a shit. And I left. So I'm not an elitist.
The best review ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. You're gonna give Tony Berardo a break.
Were you? I just have to ask. Were you with someone?
I was. Yeah.
So did they leave?
I left her there.
Say again.
Did they leave as well?
No.
His grandkids left crying. All right.
Yeah.
It's
when they're six, Bob, you can't leave them alone like that.
Yeah, it's a Sunday night thing I've been doing for like 22, 23 years. It's a mutual friend of Sal and I, Chris Kerbau. Was a cinematographer. Anyway, I just said, dude, I can't watch this. I can't.
Yeah.
And it was so loud and the flipping and flopping I'm getting. I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to Bar Louie. I'll meet you there.
I just watched Top Gun again a couple days ago.
We just did too.
I never saw it.
I thought it was
Samesies.
great. I forgot
It's
it was
great.
great.
Yeah,
And the funny thing about watching, if we may slip it, is I always thought that Val Kilmer was the bad guy, and for some reason, but when I read because of his attitude, I guess that was my memory of it.
The Iceman.
But rewatching it, he wasn't at all. He was just actually confident and kept warning everybody about Maverick for the right reasons.
Oh, spoiler alert.
He's smooth and steady.
Yeah.
Have you seen Quentin Tarantino's rundown of what the movie is actually about?
Yes.
It's
The
so perfect.
homosexual overtones of the movie. Yes.
I mean, I don't know that he's
It's
just
a funny
cherry picking.
scene.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah.
But once you've heard that speech and then you watch it again, you kind of chuckle.
Who is it? Quentin Tarantino.
It's a
Quentin
video.
Tarantino, and it's a scene from a movie. I forget what movie.
It's from
in.
Reservoir Dogs.
Is it
All
Reservoir?
right.
I think it's Reservoir Dogs.
All right, I'll check it out. So we've gone we got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
We got The Ranch, movie 43, Lincoln Lawyer, Untold, Caitlyn Jenner, and we got a 2 for David Letterman from Roz. Since let me see what we got here. I think Bob.
No, it's in Sleep With Me. Sorry, it's not in top. It's not in Reservoir Dogs. I'm confusing it with
It's Sleep With Me?
Buscemi. Yeah, I was confusing it with the Buscemi tipping speech.
Yep.
I don't tip.
I don't think-
Yeah. Right.
I mean, if they do a really, really special job.
All
but-
right. Well, let's whoops, there we go. Let's since Bob's on a roll, let's feed off that energy. Let's talk about movie 43.
All right. I'm gonna come off as a jerk. Coming right off the I can't stand Tom Cruise thing, but I love movies. I love even bad movies. And I hope people who watch this show know that we're not here to trash things all the time, but when something's really bad, you got to say it. And I wanted to watch this. This is the lowest rated quote unquote comedy on Rotten Tomatoes, 4%.
Wow.
4%.
Wow.
Just a horrific. And I watched it from end to end, and I put in the time, guys. Let me just ask you, it's called Movie 43, came out in 2013, and it is 14. Don't ask me why there's 14 supposedly comedic vignettes in this. But they all suck. They all suck. They're so badly done. It's like that no one has ever told a joke before. And let me describe this to you. If I told you that I watched a movie and I want you to watch it, and it's a comedy, and the vignettes are directed by Griffin Dunn, who's a great director, Brett Ratner, great director. Elizabeth Banks gets in there and directs.
She's not bad. I put her above Brett Ratner. But
James Gunn, right? Come on,
Bob
Odenkirk, Saul,
Nice.
right?
Yes.
You would say, "Oh, I got to see this movie." No, please don't subject yourselves to this. It is now. Imagine everything that's being directed, every word out of these people's mouths falls flat. It's embarrassing. There's another thing. If I said to you, I'm watching a movie right now with Kristen Bell, Halle Berry, Gerard Butler, Seth MacFarlane, Kate Bosworth, Anna Faris, Richard Gere. Richard Gere is in this movie. It took them 3 years to film this movie because all these people, these stars, they had to find time in their schedule. And there was no point in completing this thing.
Wow.
Terrence Howard, Hugh Jackman, Johnny Knoxville, Justin Long. I mean, Chris Pratt, Liev Schreiber, Jason Sudeikis, Uma Thurman. I don't have time to list the talent in this movie.
Wow.
And how badly it's wasted. I think the box office on this was like $6 million.
Wow.
No, that was the budget. That was the budget. Excuse me. Nowhere is that evident that they spent anything like that on this
set
film.
pieces.
I mean, that's like the craft services bill for your, for a lower tier Marvel film. That was a Morbius, craft services bill. So the whole thing, Tony Shalhoub is in it too. How do you fuck up something with Tony Shalhoub? So Julianne Moore, Kate Winslet. Do I need to go on? Okay, so it's such a huge waste of directorial and acting talent. All right, but then you look at this, you go, very few of those people were comedic actors, and it wouldn't have mattered. They're all bad in it, and because the directing is so bad. Interestingly enough, well, here's some quotes about it, and then I couldn't make up better quotes than this. Movie 43 is the Citizen Kane of awful.
Richard Roper. I just read
Roper. Such snark, and I love that. I mean, it won every Golden Raspberry of 2014. Worst picture, worst director, worst screenplay, worst screen combo, worst actress. They made up categories to give more awards for badness to this movie. And one of the things that I found fascinating about it was that it took 3 years to shoot. Okay, and I think I brought that up earlier. And I think, okay, how did this thing just not get shelved at some point? How did some studio exec just not see this? Hey, why don't you pull up that movie 43? Oh, Jesus Christ, what is this thing? Fucking dump this thing, throw it out in the Pacific. Don't let this see the light of day. No, they kept going as if there was some point to it. There was no point. Here's a great review. The problem is simple. It's just not funny. I'm a fan of inappropriate humor, and they work so hard to be inappropriate and yet cloyingly unfunny at the same time. But there has to be humor. Don't see this movie. Don't rent this movie. Don't even read this review. That's how bad.
Wow.
So I'm not gonna beat a dead horse anymore. This thing has been dead for 8 years. It is god awful. But if you want to see Halle Berry flail in a comedic role, watch it. If you want to see other wonderful actors and actresses just flip and flop, I mean, this is I describe this as a 2-hour version of the Imagine video. That's what this is. People who have no business singing, now they're doing comedy.
George Clooney turned down the movie. He refused. Trey Parker and Matt Stone from South Park refused to do it because they said the script sucked.
Reading it, what they said they tried to do was tried to make a modern version of the Groove Tube or Kentucky Fried Movie.
Kentucky Fried Movie.
Totally bad. This is the review that I absolutely love. It's an execrable waste cooked up by a Hell's Kitchen of directors and writers. It's death of laughter by committee. It's
the death of laughter itself.
Yeah, its title, because it's like one of those many asteroids out there, a dismal chunk of rock hurtling through an empty void without purpose.
So as we wrap it up, here's what I would ask everyone listening to do. The movie's 90 minutes. So Bob just saved you 90 minutes. Let's say you value your time at, pick your number, but let's just say $30. So that means he just saved you $45 worth of your own time. Send him $4.
That's $4.
If everyone just send him 10% of what he saved you. You run your own numbers. If you value yourself higher, you send him more. Support the Sal and Bob.
How were the first 42 movies? If this was movie 40,
no, but it's a funny joke, Sal. But they were actually planning sequels called Movie 43 and Movie 45.
Prequel.
All right, I think we've dug that one far enough.
Yeah, we have.
Let's talk about another Netflix classic route, I believe, with controversy.
I see that guy.
The Ranch.
Yeah.
The Ranch.
I thought that guy was in jail.
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
So this all began in 2016. Okay. It's an obvious, tight budgeted series designed to succeed based off its cast. You got Ashton Kutcher, you got Sam Elliott, you got Danny awaiting 45 to life Masterson, and one of my favorite all-time beautiful sexy actresses, Miss Alicia Cuthbert.
Yeah.
One day.
Yes.
One day, Mrs. Carroll.
Future ex Mrs. Carroll.
That's right. Once her studly retired NHL hockey player husband, what's his name? Dion Phaneuf.
Oh, she was in that. She was in that one
with Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah,
she was also in a really good sitcom, Happy Endings.
Yeah, and she was also in when she played the porn star in that movie with
Girl Next Door.
Girl Next Door. Yeah,
that's a good movie. I love what's his name that plays the guy that blackmails the kid.
Yeah,
he's great and everything.
It's a very dark
House of Wax.
But listen, I already challenged Dion Phaneuf to the center of the ice, and I think I could take him. But
he was a bit soft. He was an offensive defenseman.
Yeah, he was nothing. But listen, The Ranch it's a hokey, sometimes funny, sometimes meaningless, often angst-filled and aimless. It has nowhere to go. It goes nowhere. The backdrops of it remind me of my kids' middle school plays. You could obviously tell they're in a green screen and they're in, the fires and all this. But yet I love it. I love the show. It's dark. And when I mean dark, it's dark. It's the darkest film show I've ever watched. You have to put your own light on the screen just to see what's going on. It's so dark. But overall, it's rated really well. And I recommend it mostly as a background, like when you're doing the laundry because even if you miss 4 episodes, you miss nothing. You really miss nothing. It goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. And it's simplistic. It's unemotional. It's often empty. And those are all three things that are in my dating profile.
Yeah.
That's what you're
My
looking
last
for.
girlfriend describing.
Right. And I am single, I am looking, and I am available. And that's it for me on the ranch.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
So
you know-
dark, like, are you talking like Game of Thrones battle against the Night King
Yes.
kind of
Oh,
dark?
horrible dark. I think they just cut the budget altogether, and they paid Ashton
ran out of
Kutcher a
lights.
favor. They didn't even light the stage.
They
Just
got
go with it.
tons of people in this. Like, Martin Mull, Wendy Malick, Dax Shepard.
Yeah.
Was
Well,
Danny
Dax-
Masterson one of the stars? I always thought for
Yeah.
some reason Ashton Kutcher replaced him, but Ashton's in 80
Hmm.
episodes, in all the episodes. So that's
Jack Shepard replaced him.
Oh.
Dax came in as a step brother or something like that after they had to let Danny go because he really is awaiting 45 to life, and it's not funny for the things he did. But
Is that what he got? That's what his
no, he goes to court next week.
to get
goes to court.
sentenced.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Oh,
charges.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
got a
him
lot of
and
charges.
Ashton are both from the 70s show, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yep, they were close friends.
Fred,
but-
I just pulled this up. It's 4 seasons with, am I reading this right? 80 episodes?
Yeah.
That can't
yeah,
be right.
they're just
Wow. That's a
yeah.
lot.
Because their seasons weren't normal seasons. I remember that like the 4th season had like 38 episodes. You know, it was one of those crazy things. They put out a bunch over and over and over, but it's
Got
all
it.
the same thing. It goes
Yeah.
nowhere. It's, but I
Isn't
like
it. Isn't it funny that you're like 4 seasons, 80 episodes? I mean, usually
I know.
in the old days that would be like
That's what it
100
was, yeah.
episodes.
Right. Right.
yeah.
Now it's
Wow.
like it should be like around. No, that should only be like 24 episodes.
I was just doing. I swear, I was just doing that like a couple weeks ago. I was trying to find one scene that I remembered, and I'm like, "What season and episode was it?" And it was like season 3, episode 24. I'm like, "What episode 20?" Like, I was like, "Oh wait, that's how shows used to be." Yeah, used to run from September through April. So
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's
Excellent.
thank you for the ranch.
Job, Fred.
Nice job, Freddie.
Thanks.
All right, let's go on to Sal covering
Wow.
Untold.
I'm looking
Caitlyn Jenner.
forward to this, Sally.
Well,
Yes.
this completes my. I think I've done every Untold episode, so I had to do this one. But I was also intrigued on this one. Obviously, we all know Caitlyn Jenner's story, but this documentary really delves into his life, and it's pretty freaking amazing, man. It really is. It starts out as he's Caitlyn Jenner in his house, and just looks like he's got a beautiful house overlooking LA, and he's kind of about to get a haircut or something, and he starts to talk about just basically his childhood. So, and then they've flashed to footage of his childhood as a kid. He had normal upbringing, mom and dad, very supportive parents, middle class. He said as early as 8, 9 years old, he, wanted to paint his fingernails, and he would do that like, in his bedroom by himself, not tell his parents, not tell anybody. And that's kind of how it started. And then when he kind of had those feelings inside of him and he was kind of hiding them, the only thing that made him feel better was athletics. And he just started playing sports like crazy, just playing basketball, softball, football. I mean, he played every sport you could imagine. And then not to talk about the whole documentary, but basically in 1972, he meets this girl, Christy, and she's like, he's watching the Olympics. I think he was watching the 1972 Olympics, and he sees the Russian decathlon gold medalist Ivanov or something like that. I'm probably screwing up his name, but anyway, he was accepting a gold medal, and he just goes, that's what I want to do. I want to be on that stage with how that guy's doing it. And his wife, or soon-to-be wife at the time, says, "Just go for it. I'll be a flight attendant, and you just go for it." For 4 years, from 1972 to 1976, that's all he did was work out every single day. He didn't work. He didn't do nothing. He ran. He did all kinds of different events that he knew he had to do. He started competing in events, working his way up, and all of a sudden he was on the national stage because he was one of the best athletes in the country. Got accepted to the Olympics, won the qualifying competitions. And then they really focus in on the decathlon event in 1976. I mean, it's incredible, the footage on that. There's no way it was ABC footage. This was somebody that biographied him years ago. There's close-up shots of his wife and his parents in the crowd. There's a really cool scene where he's doing the 1500. I think it's called it's the very last event, and that's a 4-hour run or whatever. And he's running around, and his wife is yelling from the stand, "You're too slow. You gotta move. Your time is too slow." And you can tell that he hears it. It's really amazing footage. Obviously, we know how the 1976 gold medal. He's on that stage. He wins the gold medal, and that Ivanov guy is the bronze medal winner. So he achieves what he set out to achieve, and he said in that moment, as he narrates the whole thing, and or she narrates the whole thing, and she says, at that moment, I got so scared because I knew that I had done what I wanted to do, but now I still had this other person inside of me, and now it's going to get even worse because now I'm a national treasure. And then they show you all the talk shows that he did, and just everybody trying to get a piece of him, the Wheaties commercial, and he's just going through that life. And you can, as he's narrating, he's saying, "I'm still not whole. I'm still not who I want to be." It's an amazing documentary. Then they go into he divorces his wife in 1984. He pretty much hides out for 6 years, doesn't do anything, isn't in the public eye at all from 1984 to 1990. Wanted to come out, and he decides not to. And then he marries, was it Kris Kardashian or whatever? And then the whole Kardashian thing starts, and they kind of go over that a little bit. And it's just crazy, this guy's life, how many, he kind of had 3 different lives, if you ask me, in one life, because obviously after the Kardashian, he divorces her. And then he obviously in 2014 literally starts to transform himself into what he wants to be. And it's just an amazing, amazing documentary. I highly recommend it. I really do.
So I was going to say, because of the sensitive subject that we're talking about, I counted you used he or him to begin like 44 times, but then you were able to switch. And I think it's important for people to realize how difficult it is to talk about these subjects when you're not sure, you don't know, because you were, to your credit, you were talking when he, quote unquote, was he.
Yeah.
And then you did transfer.
He narrates it, so you got to go back and forth.
Right. And you did transfer, though. You did. You personally switched to she. Yeah. And I was just noticing that. I applaud you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you. Like I said, I personally, I think she's an incredible story, and she's not done. She says she wants to do more, and God bless her, man. Great story.
I've been fortunate enough to meet her a couple of times at NASCAR races. The Sonoma race, which is this week on the schedule. I met her there. I met her at Daytona, I believe, the other time. She actually loves NASCAR racing, like Fred. And she was an exceptionally nice, kind, generous person, talking to people, just very, very you can tell when somebody's very comfortable with who they are, right?
Yeah.
And she was great. I really enjoyed spending some time with her.
Yeah.
Lippy Pants, what are you laughing at him?
I'm laughing at Jerry Chico, man. Jerry's just killing it tonight.
We'll get to Jerry's comments in a minute. I did, Sal, in the documentary, does it talk about, because Kris Jenner kind of saved Bruce's career. Like, he had been floundering at that point, and she got him onto like a lot of these infomercials and all that kind of re-energized and brought his whole thing back to life.
No, you're right, Jeff. You know what? It's probably an hour and 15 minutes long. The longest part of the documentary is literally the decathlon part that I was telling you about. They literally go over all 10 events, show, obviously each event. So they spend a lot of time on that portion. I swear the Kris Jenner portion was very quick. They showed like footage of him carrying Kim Kardashian and stuff like that when she was a little girl. So
That's too bad.
I want to see that, but they really didn't spend a lot of time on his relationship with her. Really, to be honest,
That
with you.
might have
That's
that
too
might have
bad
been
because they don't
her,
get
though.
enough exposure. The Kardashians.
She might have asked not to be
Right.
spoken
Caitlyn
up
might have
to.
said.
Sure, true.
You know, she could have been involved with that.
You know, I was just going to say, Sally, this is not related necessarily to the documentary, but I do find it interesting that, you know, every Olympics since the 70s, you never hear about the decathlon anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's not a big deal
No,
anymore.
That's not true. It was the Dan O'Brien,
When was that?
Dan and Dave. Remember Dan and Dave?
Oh,
That was
yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah.
That was
I mean,
was that LA 84?
That was a while
maybe?
ago, though,
that
wasn't
was
it?
84, I think. Yeah,
I mean,
you don't hear
when
about it.
when you think Summer Olympics, you're thinking, you know, the dashes and the sometimes the marathons, and then you get into the whole gymnastics,
Yeah.
and that's what people are interested in.
Yeah, the
You know?
decathlon's amazing. 10 events in 2 days.
It's
that's probably-
incredible.
It's incredible.
I didn't
It's
know it was
incredible.
in 2 days. Wow.
Yeah,
I
I
remember being
Oh, yeah,
riveted as a kid to that, but I didn't realize it was over 2 days.
What's the big deal? What's it? You got your shot puts, and then you
Yeah.
throw a javelin. And what?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, the
Yeah.
final event is
you
what?
can't
It's
do
the
that in
10
2 days.
Well,
Bob?
I
The
will say
final
that
event is the 10,000 meters, I think, right? I think it's the 10,000.
1,500, 15,000, something like that. It was his time was 4 hours and 4 minutes in that. And it was hilarious.
What?
Because, or whatever, 4:14 was, it couldn't have been 4 minutes. It's got to be 4 hours, right? Because it's a paced run. His time was 4:15. If you could look it up real quick.
Well,
But it was
America-
hilarious when he won it, when he won the final event and he got above, I think it was 8,600 points for the whole decathlon was the world record. He got 86.18 and broke the record. That's what he wanted to do. And when he finished, he kept running around the track where all the other runners were literally so exhausted. They're on the track, like almost like keeled over. That Ivanov guy that he beat was on the mat that you do the pole vaulting on. He was just passed out on the mat. I mean, these guys were all just dead exhausted, and he's still running. And that's that shot that made him on the Wheaties box.
Right.
You know, incredible athlete, man.
Very
Do you-
cool.
Do you want to know the 10 events? I got them right here.
It's
Sure.
1,500.
What was the time on that last event?
Well, I don't know his, but I know what the 10 events are. There's a 100-meter race, a 400-meter race, a 1,500-meter race, 110-meter hurdles, long jump, high jump, shot put, discus, javelin, and pole vault.
Wow.
it's incredible.
So the 1,500 is the last event, and and I remember now the reason they say the 1,500 is so exhausting is because it's an absolute middle distance race in the sense that they're running it. So it's a 100-meter dash. They're running it 15 times, but they're not pacing themselves the way you do. A marathon, right? They're going not quite full speed, but pretty high speed the entire time. Because I remember every time I've watched the decathlon, everybody's absolutely exhausted at the end of that.
And he had
mention
Howard, he had to be against for the javelin throw. He was against Takashi from Lambda with his limp wristed throwing style. That was very
those
difficult.
Lambda boys.
4 minutes 12 seconds, Sal.
Okay, it was 4 minutes. Okay.
1,500.
Well, the way they made it look like he's running, it made it look like he was running for 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still good. All right. You know what else is good? Oh, there we go. The Lincoln Lawyer. All right. Ron's going to take us to the Lincoln.
So this is, I will tell you, I went into this series not expecting a lot. Now, did any of you guys, anybody seen this?
No, I never heard of it.
Oh,
I've watched it.
What's interesting about this is that first off, it's off of a best-selling book from 2008, but not the book itself, the sequel to the book, which is what the series is based off of, which then rolled into the movie The Lincoln Lawyer, which starred Matthew McConaughey and William H. Macy, and did okay. It wasn't it didn't crush, but it was a pretty good movie. And you would think that 2 books and a movie would be quite enough, right? But then CBS Viacom picks up the rights to the series, which was executive produced by David E. Kelly. And for those of you who know David E. Kelly, he actually was the original Doogie Howser executive producer, and then went on to just become fabulously wealthy and successful with like a slew of successful dramas like Picket Fences and Chicago Hope and Ally McBeal and Boston Public, Boston Legal,
And Mary Michelle Pfeiffer.
and Mary Michelle Pfeiffer. Exactly. In fact,
Didn't he do NYPD Blue or no?
He did do NYPD Blue
And Blue Sky.
and Blue Sky.
yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, this guy, as soon as David E. Kelly got into the mix, people started getting serious about this. Like, maybe we can make this thing work. So CBS Viacom picks it up and goes into production right at the front end of COVID, and the thing just dies on the vine. No one's showing up. It's over budget immediately. They can't get the thing going, and they shelve it and ultimately kill it. And then
one season,
not even
10
Wow.
episodes.
It's
10
yeah,
episodes.
so it's like in the air. CBS Viacom says, nope, we're not going to do it. You know, we're shelving it. We're killing it. And in just like they do every freaking time, in swoops Netflix and says, we'll pick it up. And a deal was cut. And Netflix went ahead with production right in the middle of COVID, March of 2021.
Yeah. That's when they had money.
You know, a total FU to CBS, picked it up, and this is now the most watched English speaking Netflix show in history. And not only that, when it first came out on Netflix, the first 2 weeks of its availability, its ratings were 3 times greater than its next competitor for English speaking new series on Netflix.
Well, isn't Stranger Things English speaking? That's
now I mean, Stranger Things is the juggernaut at this point. But I'm saying when Lincoln Lawyer came out, it was fabulously successful. And you know, for those of you guys, I don't know if you guys know the story, but and I won't go too far into it, but this is a criminal defense lawyer who receives all the cases of another lawyer who gets killed, and he suddenly finds this guy in possession of some really hot commodity cases, some of which take a big left turn as to why the lawyer got killed. So so it's a really interesting story. It stars Manuel Garcia Rolfo, who I hadn't seen up until this point. He was in The Magnificent Seven, the remake from 2016, if you guys saw that. But gosh, guess who else is in this as his co-star is Nev Campbell.
A horrible actress.
Nev
Campbell.
Nev Campbell is just beautiful. She's timeless, and I've loved Nev Campbell from way back, and I got to tell you, she just does an amazing job as his ex-wife in this series, and then Becky Newton, who I had to look her up originally. I was looking at her, I'm like, gosh, where do I know you from? Because she does such a great dramatic portrayal of his other ex-wife, the lead actress, and it's she's from How I Met Your Mother. So she came from a comedy series into the Lincoln Lawyer, and I just have to say, this is a really, really well done series. It's well acted, well scripted. I think it mixes in comedy and drama at the same time. I think that Manuel Garcia Rolfo is excellent. I can't imagine that they just found this guy out of nowhere, because he plays the role perfectly. He mixes in his Hispanic background perfectly, which is interesting because that's not in the original script of the Lincoln Lawyer, because I did see the original movie with Matthew McConaughey, but they did a little twist on this, and I have to tell you, it really works. And I think this is an incredibly interesting show, and I really, really recommend it. It's 10 episodes, each episode roughly 45 minutes on Netflix. It's only one season in. It's gonna continue on, and you can catch up really, really quickly with it.
Yeah, they definitely used the CSI Miami template.
They did
with it. It's very CSI Miami-ish with the comedy. They use those little comedy roles and the ex-wives and the good-looking guy.
They throw in a bunch of comedy. You're right. It is a tried and true formula with good looking people, and I think some elements of the series, without me giving anything away, there's some hard to watch situations in the show, and it's a little gross at some point, but it's well done. Listen, legal dramas are interesting. I think the reason why you keep seeing legal drama after legal drama is that people consume this stuff. It is an interesting series, and on Netflix they get to take it to the next level with swearing and nudity and violence, and they can do all these cool things with it. And I think
all
they
the
did a nice
things
job.
missing from most legal dramas. I'm excited. Thank you,
I think
Ron.
you're right, man.
That
You're
was
welcome.
awesome.
Oh, Ronnie.
Nice.
Can we do we have a moment just to talk about things that are being shown now that you would never, like you saying, unique things or startling things in this show, Lippy Pants?
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
just let me ask the crew here, who's seen the first episode of The Kids in the Hall
I
rebound?
haven't seen it yet.
I haven't.
I watched part of it.
Why the full frontal?
Oh
Why?
yeah. Because they can.
Yes,
They can. In the first 2 minutes, yeah.
I was so taken aback, and then I'm like, this is hysterical. And it is. It's just because they can. Anyway, get that out. That the Franks and Beans, it startled me. It really did.
Now I gotta go watch it.
You gotta.
It's good. They're really
So
funny writers.
they knob shocked you, huh?
Oh, jeez.
Speaking of being shocked, let's let Roz wrap it up with my next guest, and that's my time to David Letterman double feature.
So, like most of us on this, we grew up in the time frame where, early on in our time was Johnny Carson was obviously the dominant, but then Letterman snuck in, and you had the choice of Letterman and Leno, and Letterman was always edgier and hipper, and I think a lot of the things that most of us remember from the time with Letterman was the crazy stuff, the top 10 lists and the stunts and what's his name, the little guy that did all the stuff. I can't remember his name. But you remember a lot of that stuff, and I think what got lost for me in remembering back until these shows was really how good of an interviewer David Letterman is, and these Netflix shows that he's done have really given kind of a renaissance for him. So the first show, my next guest is a pure interview show, interspersed with clips of some of the folks, personal clips, and maybe so for example, the guests are great guests, like Dave Chappelle, for example. He interviewed Chappelle in one of the seasons. Chappelle lives on a farm in Ohio, in a really small town, and Letterman went to that town, which is where Chappelle was doing a comedy concert for the people, and he interviewed Chappelle on the farm, basically, and in the hometown, and went to him because of COVID, and it's. So intersperses a lot of that stuff. Robert Downey Jr. lives on a farm also. Interspersed a lot of, Downey with the animals and, teasing him about not knowing anything, not even knowing what kind of animal it was and stuff like that. But, we got to see Letterman be a great interviewer in, 5-6 minute bursts for each guest. And this long form process, he's really able to do some typical Letterman comedic interviewing, inside jokes and one-liners off the cuff, but also really get into some more in-depth, serious subjects, which is really cool. He interviews Obama, and it's a great interview. He interviewed Kim Kardashian West, and that interview talked a lot about a bunch of stuff with her, and a lot about the robbery, and just people thinking she's stupid, and he really got in depth in the interview. A great interview with Jay-Z. That Robert Downey Jr.'s interview is fantastic. There's a great episode that's kind of a bonus episode where Seinfeld is interviewing him, and he can't resist. He starts interviewing Seinfeld during the return. It's a great show with great interviews of people that we all know. Really, really good. The Tiffany Haddish episode's excellent as well. So that's great. They followed it up with this show called That's My Time, which is basically the old school Letterman, Leto, Carson, do 5 to 10 minutes of stand up, get called over to the couch to do some interviews. And that's basically what it is. There's a bunch of Netflix shows that just came out the last 2 weeks that are all tied to the Netflix is a Joke Festival. That was 8 days in LA about a month or so ago. It's where Chappelle was attacked on stage during one of those shows. Bill Burr's got a great kind of stand-up showcase with some great names. And then they did this show. So Sam Morrill, who's hysterical, was the first one. And it's basically what it is. He just does, 5-10 minutes of stand-up. It opens with Letterman almost doing a bit of a monologue, just talking about some stuff, and then it rolls into Sam doing his comedy for 5 to 10 minutes, and then he goes over and he and Letterman sit and shoot the shit for another 5 minutes, and that's it. It literally was like they took that portion of the old stand-ups, appearance, and did it as part of the show. All three comedians were great. I didn't know the second one's name. I would absolutely massacre it. She's a really tough name to pronounce. And I'd never seen her stand up. A show that I'd reviewed in the past, Mythic Quest on Apple TV Plus. She plays the HR director in that show who steals every scene she's in. And her stand up was just about absolutely as funny as those scenes. The funniest part of her was she refers to her husband a bunch of times, and instead of saying his name, because she's like, nobody cares about his name, she just calls him her Jew boo, and she's African American, so it's just really funny to see her calling him her Jew boo. It's just I thought it was a really funny juxtaposition, which Letterman kind of teases her about, and she has some really funny lines about that. And then Rosebud Baker, who has been a writer on Saturday Night Live for a year or two now, who I've seen her in some other stuff. And those are the three comedians, but it's just the old school, the interviewing, and the seriousness with which Letterman takes the interviews in the first show, which now is on his 4th season. He just released a bunch of new episodes. Ryan Reynolds was one of the new ones. Will Smith was one of the newer ones as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
Another couple guys not getting enough face time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then the other show they're like 18-minute shows. It literally was just plucked out of talk shows, and it's great. So yeah, he doesn't talk about. I don't think he interviewed Drew Barrymore in any of the episodes. I'm trying to think of the other names. I know Lizzo. I know Tiffany Haddish. George Clooney's interviewed. Tina Fey is a great episode. The Obama was such a great episode. Look, like him or not politically, I don't want to go down that road, but 2 of the best interviews that I've ever heard for a politician letting down his guard and not being a politician are Obama on Mark Maron's podcast and Obama in this Letterman interview. Not to mention Obama on Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis,
That was excellent.
which might be the funniest line ever mentioned on TV ever, when Zach says, "What's it like to be the last black president?"
Yeah.
It's one of the funniest things of all time.
Howard, just out of curiosity, were you trying to think of Larry Bud Melman?
I was trying to think of Larry.
Larry.
Yeah, okay.
Replaced with by Rupert G.
Yeah.
Well, and he also got Chris Isaac his start as well. So,
Yeah, Chris
that's
Isaac.
right.
And Howard, are you holding
Chris
a
Elliott,
can in your hand while you're talking?
I am.
We've been trying to in the notes here on the
Don't
side.
do
we've
that.
been
Don't
trying to
do
figure
that
out who's
again.
doing that.
Oh, sorry.
You're nervous.
Was I squishing it? Yeah.
Hey, Roz, where does he film next? I've seen a couple episodes. It sounds like it's like at a theater or something. Is he like in like a New York theater or something like that? Or
Yeah, I think that
Okay.
must be where they do most of them, and then some of the other ones they did more on location. But yeah, he
Okay.
does them mostly. They're mostly theater shows. Yes,
I think it may be here in Connecticut. I'm looking now.
could be.
It's pretty cool. Yeah,
You
he
know,
is really good. I don't think anyone's better than Howard Stern.
I was
I
going to
agree.
say the same thing, Jeff. I
Great
actually
interview.
listen. David Letterman, I think was incredibly cutting edge for the time, and I think he did some really interesting stuff. But when you think of just the great interviewers that are out there, he doesn't always strike me as being at the very, very top. I think there's
If you watch some of these episodes, you'll appreciate more. And I totally forgot. Howard Stern is one of the first
Yeah, he is
season
one
guests.
of them. Yeah.
I totally
He's the-
forgot. Which they really they helped make each other.
they did.
Letterman's good. Stern gets to it's a whole different level. It's a
Yeah.
whole different
Yeah,
level.
yeah,
And
Well,
Yeah.
Letterman's playing it for laughs, and Howard Stern. I mean, he's obviously
Well,
but he does not give a shit about how intrusive a question might be,
That's true.
Well,
and he asks it all.
Also remember that if you haven't watched any of these episodes yet, you watched Letterman where he was limited in time, limited in language, limited in subject matter, where in these episodes he's not limited in any of those.
oh yeah. We're just being added.
No. Yeah. It's he's
We know you
definitely
love
more-
him.
I love him too. Letterman's my favorite.
I
Always
love
has been.
Letterman.
He
Oh, you're
is.
gonna.
I rewatched during my COVID bout when I was just not able to focus on anything new. I rewatched the Comedy Store 4-part Mike Binder documentary again, and Letterman is so great in that.
He's really good.
He's really good. That was one of the first things I think I reviewed on the show. And if you haven't watched that yet,
You have, and then I watched it, and then I interviewed Mike Binder.
yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
The Miss Marvel came out. I've been keeping up. I haven't seen that. I've been keeping up with Kenobi. I enjoy it. It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and then I think the little girl that plays Leia is great. And then
Howard,
the Orville's back on Hulu. By the way, I love that show.
The Boys is back.
Oh
The
my God,
Boys.
I'm 3.
I haven't watched.
My
I haven't
jam.
watched it yet.
Yes.
I'm not gonna
So
tell you
good.
anything, but I'm 3 in, and oh man, they sucked me in from second one. Unlike Stranger Things, which is
Yeah. Wow.
Right,
That's
right.
a
Which
slow
you-
burn
which
of
you-
all
which you
time.
demolished
let me
on
for
social
anyone.
media.
So I feel like I was trolling everybody on Facebook yesterday because of Stranger Things, but let me go on record as saying, after getting burned on Severance on Apple, is that it? And watching 8 hours of TV, and everyone's saying it was great because the 8th hour was great. Okay, if you think of Stranger Things, okay, think of Stranger Things, and we're 4 hours into Stranger Things, in season 4, just season 4, or there's 8 hours. You could say there's 8 hours for or whatever, 6-7 hours in season 4. The entire Star Wars trilogy is about the same amount of time, right? 9 hours or so, right? Or 9, well, probably
6,
10 to 13 hours, right? So almost a little more. But you could write novels and encyclopedias on everything you know or can extrapolate from Star Wars, because it's 13 hours of actual information and storytelling. And in Stranger Things, we're into 4 hours into season 4. I know nothing more about this upside down than I did in season 1. Like literally nothing. And Hopper disappears. Spoiler if you haven't watched it, but everyone knows he lives because they gave it away 8 months ago.
Yeah.
But here's the worst part was, if I can save your life, all he does is end up in Russia, and not even anything related to the upside down 4 hours in. I mean, so he's just at a Russian camp, like the same one he was in.
I think you are right about a few things with it. I mean, I enjoy it immensely. I like all those 80s movies and stuff, and they just throw it all together into a can. But I think they're in a tough position where they're making a boatload of money. They're not going to cut the train. They're probably drying up with their ideas, but they got to keep going because of the money. But I think Netflix is also forcing them to cater to you and to cater to your kids. And they don't know where to go. They're not sure who their audience is. Even though it's everybody, they're like playing on the seesaw with it. So I do think the Duffer Brothers are geniuses in the way they write their episodes. I think they bring in good characters, but they kill off their best characters. Every year they kill off their best characters.
And Jeff, you're not going to like to hear this, but the last episode of the 8, right before the July 1st, what do they call it? 2.0, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. That episode is epic.
Okay, so
The final
well,
episode.
hey everyone, definitely put in 7 hours
Hell yeah.
so you can get that 8th
Yeah.
hour of
And how
epic.
many times can we listen to the Kate Bush song? Oh my Lord.
Kate Bush could.
Yeah.
Kate Bush is doing pretty good off it.
Yeah.
Spotify's killing it.
But Bob, that is my point, right?
Well, I know. And I agree with you with this.
It should be amazing along the way. The good Netflix shows. The reason we're all suckers now and watching all this crap that nothing happens and then the 8th hour pays off is because they did it right in the beginning, where you'd watch and at the end of every episode in the last 10-15 minutes something freaking awesome happened,
And they pull you
and
in.
then they would suck you right into the next episode. But they don't even do that anymore. Now they just end and you hope, oh, maybe the next episode will have that in it. It's like they got you hooked on drugs and now they don't even give you the fix anymore.
Well, part of the problem is they don't have to do that anymore, because even if you turn it off, you just turn it to another show on their network. And they know that for percentages. You're not turning off Netflix, and that's all they care about.
Well, the other thing is, I guarantee you, like I read, they're not changing the strategy for the second season of Stranger Things. They're going to release it all at once. And of course they're going to release it all at once, because if you watch this season of Stranger Things, 1 hour every week, everyone would have given up by the second week. Okay. Because to wait a week and do it, you actually have to be better because you've waited, then you digest it and then you go. But something's got to happen. There has to be something that gets you week to week.
They got to do it. These kids are going to start giving birth soon.
Well, they're all awkward. Most of them are awkward looking now.
Yeah.
And it's like it just doesn't even. I don't think any of it.
It needs to be wrapped up.
All the kids just go, it's Vecna, it's the Dungeons and Dragon thing, and they're right. I mean, how the hell would they know unless it's just tied to their Dungeons and Dragon thing, and but like it's. I mean, how do they know what's going on? And you know what I mean? It's like that one kid, Dustin. It's like, I'm taking over the family value computer. Hang on, this is it's like But suddenly you're like a detective. You're in 9th grade. I mean, I think everyone forgets they just graduated middle school and like
And you know what else? I have never thought that Winona Ryder has been that great on this. She's just Winona Ryder, and she was the big name when that first started. I was like, oh, Winona Ryder's anything. She's a terrible actress in this. She's awful. I mean, you catch her looking at the camera. I don't know how they didn't edit that out.
She acts like her older son looks in this.
Okay,
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, it's like. That I don't get it. He's like this. Yeah, it's
not very
well said.
Clearly, they're doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing they got going for themselves is like, but then they cancel great shows like Santa Clarita Diet and then give that one a 3rd season.
I didn't like that. So it's a matter of taste.
It's not a matter of taste. You just don't have taste.
Well,
first of all, Santa Clarita.
Last night, Jeff goes to bed to Friends every night, like that's some whirlwind every episode.
I don't tell other people to do it.
Yeah, well,
it's my wife's comfort thing. She puts it on. It's good background, and we fall asleep.
Nice.
Okay.
Hey Howard, before we let go of your review, I just want to say that whenever I'm down and I'm looking for something to just really pick up my spirits, it's almost always the David Letterman interview of Paris Hilton. So I just want to point out that is some of the greatest television I think in television history.
So cringe. You're just like, oh my god.
Yeah. She was like that on Opie and Anthony back in the day, and she just wouldn't talk about anything they asked her. And they're finally like, "Okay, we're gonna get Paris out of here." And it's like, "Oh, what do you offer? You offer nothing."
Yeah.
So,
No, but
yeah.
he was such a dog with a bone because she had just come out of jail, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all he wanted to talk about, and she did
Yeah.
everything she could to get out of it. And
Yep.
oh,
Yeah.
it's so great.
Yeah.
You know what
Totally.
else is so great? This episode was
This
so great.
episode.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. Fred, thanks for joining us again. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Well, not many places anymore, but I do still have Apostrophes Writer Series that I do monthly now, not weekly like I used to. I know it's not perfect, but that's my time. And I do the mental health podcast still every week, and that's Ending the Stigma. And that's it. That's the only, or you can go to Amazon and buy my books. I mean, I do have 14 books out. So
Wow.
head over there.
All right.
Prolific.
And buy my books. And I got a new book coming out very soon, but who knows when. But you can find it. Ending the Stigma is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Very cool.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir. Bob, say goodnight.
Oh, hey, you can see me every month at Genetti's Hole in the Wall Theater with my partner down here, Sal, right? Where is it? There.
Is Sal awake? You
There.
okay, Sal?
I'm all right.
And a week from tomorrow, we have a very special guest headlining the Sal and Bob Show Live, Mr. Jeff Dwoskin.
That'll be
It's going to be a
Nice.
good show.
You guys should
Yeah.
all come. We should do a live show from there.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Sal, say goodnight.
We might have
what Bob said, saldemilio.com, Sal and Bob podcast. Good night, everybody.
I might try and talk Dan Lippett to be on the show next week. He's going to be staying at my house for a few weeks.
All right.
Really?
All right.
Very cool. Ronnie, say goodnight.
Name
back on airplanes to Delta Airlines near you. So look forward to being on next week's show. Thanks, guys.
Happy
All right.
trails, Ronald.
Roz, say goodnight.
Peace out, everyone.
Glad
All
you're
right,
feeling better, Roz.
And then see you guys. Oh, so Classic Conversations. My episode tonight for Thursday is all my interviews I did at the Motor City Comic Con with the Superman Legacy folks. So it's Sarah Douglas.
Sarah Douglas
and
wow.
Jack O'Halloran.
Wow.
Jimmy Olsen, Mark McClure.
How does Sarah Douglas look now?
She was awesome, and she was so delightful to talk to. That accent, so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a bunch of really cool interviews. Anyway, that's it. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.
And that has been another episode of Crossing the Streams. Join us every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow The Jeff Dwoskin Show on YouTube to be alerted every time we go live with your hosts, Jeff Dwoskin, Ron Lippett, Howard Rosner, Bob Phillips, Sal D'Amelio. We're all in the socials. Follow us, listen to our podcasts, Classic Conversations, and The Sal and Bob Show. Check them all out, and we'll see you next week and every week when we cross more streams right here. See you then.